I am live, and there was a black screen, but I figured it out. Now I can't find it. Now it won't focus. Maybe it is. I'm in here by myself, so I can talk to myself with the best. Oh, no, I must have hit my camera. Hey, welcome in. How are you tonight? See that blue thing at the top of the chat? I just learned how to put that in there. I learned a new trick. Old dogs can learn new tricks if they're not too hard. That's going to be my new motto. Well, and I still don't have very. Hmm, let me see if I can clear it. My is that better or is that the same? Oh, well, I'm glad you are too. Now we can work on your spelling because it looks like you're among fiends a little bit, which is probably a given, but maybe not. That echo box there, that should be. What's up with the? Oh, well, I just found it in the closet earlier, and I put it on my head. I just hadn't taken it off yet. I can, but if I take it off now, my hair's probably going to be pointing straight up in the air. You made this hat. Mike Cabral said, "Sorry I'm late. Just got off the phone with the wife dog. With the wife dog? Had a moment at the veterinarian's office. Oh, let me guess. The dog had a moment at the veterinarian's office. Yeah, Mike, you're not fooling me. I know Carol's already let the cat out of the bag. You're starting up your own. You're starting up your own live stream. Hey, buddy, come over here and get in the chair. We're doing a show. Come here. Come on. You don't want to cry like a baby in front of everybody. Well, I do hope the dog's okay too. I wasn't trying to make fun of the dog. Just how Mike said it. Sorry, guys. Sir Walter Noodle. Hey, look here. Say hi to Carol. Come here, look here. Say hi, Miss Carol. Standing up here big and tall. You're such a good boy, such a biggin' boy. You should be able to. You need to learn. You need to start talking so you can tell people that you've had your snack for dinner and you had a nice nap before this and that you're ready for the show. What's that? He said if I was a ventriloquist, I could talk for him. Don't pull on my. Oh, ow, ow, ow. And I told you you can't pull on my shirt, okay, during the show. So lay down. If you're not going to stand up and be on the show, then just don't tear my shirt up. Mike Cabral says hi, Teddy, and he said that in Canadian, but I can interpret Canadian. Hi. Teddy said there is no such thing as Canadian. Yep, your mama sent as Carol a new picture of you. You remember the one you posed for the other night? Hang on a minute, guys. That coughing got my eyes watered. I cannot tell a lie. That one hurt a little bit. Whew. Well, if it's just the four of us tonight, I don't know. We might talk about Girl Scout cookies or something. Oh, and Brenda's been making bread. Oh, hey, Kay Atwood. Okay. Well, thanks for listening in. And Brenda made some bread yesterday. Oh, is it good? After all these years of bread, she's really learned how to make bread all of a sudden. She's made bread before that was good, but this is really good. I discovered, I think, that I've scratched my glasses. Yeah, I've done something. It's right in the middle of right where my bifocals start. So it's kind of right in the middle of my eyeball. Sounds wonderful. Homemade bread is so much better than store-bought. Yes, it is. And you know how it's really good, Carol? When it's still warm and you put butter on it and you put enough butter that it can soak into the bread. Now, people will tell you today that that's not healthy, but I think that's a misnomer. Our ancestors lived long and healthy lives, and I'm quite sure they ate homemade bread with butter on it. And it is so good that way. Makes good toast, too. Oh, you know what you should do, Brenda? You should take a loaf out tonight and slice it up and about that thick and let it get a little stale overnight and then use that to make me some French toast in the morning. Yeah, butter makes everything better. Like that's just a fact of life. At least it doesn't have any preservatives in it. That's true, it does not. And if you make French toast, see, you'll have bread with no preservatives and eggs, which are good for you, protein and all that stuff. And what else can we put with it that'd be healthy? Maple syrup. Maple syrup's a natural thing, so I'm sure that's healthy. We can turn that into a whole health food meal. I'm sure. Maple syrup, butter. Butters comes from milk, so therefore it is healthy like milk. Maple syrup comes out of a tree. Yeah, that's right, Mike. I mean, it's all natural product. I told you don't pull on my shirt sleeve, young man. Okay. Brenda, his nose is dirty. Which it was when you took his picture. I meant to tell you that. You took a picture right up his nose. How about butter with peach and blackberry? Oh, well, yeah, that worked too, Kay. Oh, I used to love homemade. I even like blackberry preserves, but I probably like blackberry, but I liked it without the seeds, which I know to a lot of people means it probably means it's not really. Maybe that makes it jelly. I don't know, but there's something about blackberry seeds and I that just never quite got along. I guess I should have just swallowed them. Still here, I just have to check on my prime meatballs in the oven. Oh, meatballs. What are we having tonight, Mike? We had meatballs with rice the other night with I guess kind of I don't know, Brenda, what do you call that? What would you call the sauce that was the meatballs were in? Hawaiian, Japanese, some other form of terrestrial cooking. Yeah, peach preserve. Peach preserves are always wonderful. Sweet and sweet and sour meatballs. There you go. Oh, and Carol, my mom used to make of course, make the best what she called freezer jam with strawberries. That was so good on a biscuit, like a hot biscuit with butter. Oh Lord, it was to die for. We used to bring it home years ago. We'd bring it home with us. We bring home her strawberry preserves when we go visit, and her frozen corn that she put up every year, and green beans, canned green beans that she did, and then we'd always bring those home because the girls like those things also. Dickerson's used to make a seedless blackberry preserve. Oh, I hate they were bought out by Smuckers and they stopped making it. Well, of course they did. Smuckers taste like grape jelly. Well, see, that's like because they think they're in that crowd that grew up thinking grape jelly was, top of the heap. I mean, you remember when they made, I get maybe they still do, but they made peanut butter and jelly together. That was always with grape jelly too. I never could figure that out. Why not use something else? Just about anything, at least to give you a taste of something different. We couldn't get out the door into the car without her loading us down with everything. Yeah, but it was good, and you liked it too. So don't complain too much, and don't we wish we could get some now? Then she would cut flowers if it was during spring and summer for the girls to bring home. Yeah, she'd get out once we got her outside the house and got to the car where we were loading up. Then she'd start cutting flowers. Oh, I forgot. Mike said I made meatballs from scratch with mashed potatoes from scratch and broccoli and cheese from scratch. Now, Mike, if you got those meatballs out of a bag and they were frozen, that's not scratch. And I can do mashed potatoes pretty good. And broccoli and cheese, too, for that matter. I like broccoli with cheese. I didn't mean to miss you there, Mike. I didn't. I got hung up on Kay's peach and blackberry preserves there threw me, got me plumb distracted. So I missed your cooking, uh, your saute off into cooking there. Sorry, guys. That just made me think about my mom, made me miss my mom. Carol says her grandpa always sent us girls home with fresh cut gardenias for the ride home from Florida. The smell of gardenias still makes me think of him. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if there is a smell that reminds me of my grandfather, my dad's dad. I kind of remember the smell of their house in general. So it'd be both of them, I guess. And yeah, that's a real good memory. The and I don't know, my grandfather on mom's side passed away when I was only about 3, I think, 3 or 4. So I don't remember much about him. I probably would have remembered chewing tobacco or something from him. I think hey, hey, what? That was a line from, I don't know how many, if anybody here is a fan of the original. Maybe there's only one. Pollyanna. Well, no, I guess the original Pollyanna. And hey, John, welcome in, buddy. We're reminiscing for a moment here. But there's a line in that where she talks about remembering her grandfather because he always smelled like tobacco and peppermint. I always thought that was a good line because that would be a good thing as a memory. Oh, pastures reminding you. Okay, well, yeah, that there was a lot of that down there. Well, who are you watching, John? What's the score? I can't remember who the Preds are playing. They were playing. I just turned them off. They were playing. Who were they playing? It wasn't Jersey though. I don't think it was whoever Peter Laviolette's coaching for right now. Because he used to coach for the Preds, and they said something about that. Nashville went through one of those big purges that hockey teams go through every few years, and so many of their good players that I liked are now out on other teams. It's so strange to sit and watch them play and be playing against guys that were in their starting lineup and were really good for so many years. Florida over the Leafs. Who was carrying that, John? ESPN, maybe? Be right back. Oh, the NHL network. Okay. Forgot about them. The Preds were on a Bali feed down here, and I don't know if I think that's a Fox thing, or it used to be a Fox channel. Mike, you know what? I've not seen any games lately. In the last couple weeks, where are they? Are they already in the playoffs? I probably haven't been looking at the right channels. I think CBS Sports carries that down here, or I see it there sometimes. That's where I've been watching it. The last game I saw was, it was Winnipeg and somebody. Oh no, maybe it was Calgary and oh, who was it? Another horse team. Is anybody watching the President of the United States through address? Well, I meant to. Is that on right now? I should have recorded that. I don't know, Brenda, if you're watching that and he's on, hit record on that. I would kind of like to hear what he's got to say. Oh, you don't get CFL football, huh, John? We didn't for a long time, and then we started getting it again on. We did for a while, then we didn't, and now we do again down here on CBS, or at least on my cable. I think it's CBS Sports. Well, I might as well bring up my topic since Mike brought up his. And then we can talk about hockey again or whatever. But let me get this up and running. So a great movie, old movie, John. The other night. I don't know how accurate it is or anything. It's before your time, but it was the Jimmy. I'm gonna take my hat off. It's starting to itch my head. See what I told you about my hair? That's why I left it on. Oh, let me run a brush through it. Hang on, guys. Mike, you know what? That's an interesting point. My hair didn't really lay down, but that's all right. I've been eating up the Cheeto, man. Be careful of what you say. We don't want to start a fight tonight. I can cut you off, remember. Yeah, with Jimmy Stewart, John. What's cool? The coolest thing about that movie to me is I didn't present, did I? Coolest thing about that movie to me is the equipment they're flying. They made that movie back when the B-36 was our frontline bomber, which is kind of an interesting airplane. Six engine rear facing engines on the mounted on the back of the wing, and then it had two outboard jets, or actually maybe four outboard jets, two in each pod. I knew a guy that worked out of Green Bay, or not Green Bay, but to Thule, Greenland, Thule, yeah, Greenland, Thule Air Force Base in Greenland. I think that's right. And he said they flew those things in and out of that base because it was a strategic air base. And he said he rarely ever saw one of them come back with all six engines running, at least all six of the props. I think they were running one of the most sophisticated radials of the day. I think they were running right. They were running right turbo supercharged engines. The biggest radial they ever made was a 4360, and these were 3,000 something. And they may have just been twin rows, but the turbo supercharged made a difference. AKA SAC. I was in SAC B-36. Oh, I was in. Yeah, you would have been in SAC. That's right, John. B-36. I mean, obviously, B-36 is huge. We had one on the flight line. Did you really? Oh, it's Chanute. Okay. I didn't know you were at Chanute. Yeah, maybe I'm making an assumption, but is that near Chicago? Chanute was the man was from up that way. Anyway, back to what Mike said. I didn't mean to disregard that, because I think that's an interesting point. There's a lot of missile tech school. Yeah, 2 hours south of Chicago. I thought the man, Octave Chanute, worked in Chicago, maybe for the Field Museum or one of those. There's another scientific group there. Maybe Fields is part of them, or vice versa. But anyway, he worked with my friend, not my friend, the book my friend wrote about E.F. Huffaker. He had some Chanute letters in there, because Huffaker was a country boy from East Tennessee, but Chanute thought he was on ahead of the game on developing wings and flight, his knowledge of flight on a wing basis, how to actually make a wing produce lift and that sort of thing. So Chanute talked I'm getting off subject, but Chanute talked the Smithsonian Institute into hiring him, or at least letting him work with them, which included letting him work with the Wright brothers. So he was out there for one season, I think just 1 year, and had some interesting thoughts and stories about the Wright brothers. But that's for another day. Maybe I'll do a show about that sometime. But anyway, again, back to Mike's question or statement. I think it is going to be interesting, because today I'm hearing different stories now about how the Chinese are reacting and how the Russians are reacting, and what that might mean to either one of those two, because they gave a lot of different reasons, both economical and just in the eyes of the world, I suppose, because they both have in the past at least supported Hamas, and right now I'm not sure that Putin can really afford to support Hamas or anybody else, and then the Chinese are kind of pulling, evidently. Somebody said, one news group has said, and they're pulling back a little bit from the Hamas group and that area, because they don't necessarily want to get caught up in this one, because of the civilian casualties on both sides at this point. But anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what's happened this week versus what we talked about last week. And Mike, if I can answer questions about last week, I will. But if not, then I'll have to direct you over towards the team replay and pick up the first part of the show. Okay, you guys can see the screen, I suppose. We all know the rule. Well, hit the button, subscribe, and leave a comment, please. And then we got the rules here. And if you don't remember the rules, we respect each other. We don't fight. Anything's open as long as we are respectful. Religion, politics, the two I've always been told to avoid at all costs. And come in with an open mind, and I'd still like to have more volunteers that were willing to come in and talk and/or mediate a little bit. Anyone in the chat or on live will be allowed to speak without being talked over. That means chat room, or no invasion of privacy. We won't put up that, and no attempt to intimidate will be tolerated, since apparently intimidation has become the new. Hi, Diana. Got the donuts? How's Walter? We need to get a Walter report before we get into anything else. And anyway, it seems that intimidation is now a favorite political trick for certain people. So we damn sure aren't going to put up with that here. Good, those two countries should stay out of that. They're nothing but troublemakers. Yeah, well, and I don't know that they will, but that was some of the comments I heard earlier tonight. Is the door open? Well, yeah, it is now. Hang on a minute, guys. Let me get out of here. Oh, you missed all that. Mike, I said fix Diana a drink and let her lay down on the couch and you take care of her for a minute. She sounds to me like she might have been, just a little overly taxed there from the hospital visit with Walter, which I can totally understand. Anyway, what was I saying? But other than welcome in Diana, we've had several big things that have happened in the last week over there that have got things even more confusing, and one of which was the Al Halali hospital that was bombed or blown up in some fashion. No matter who did it, it's that they really messed up. I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. I mean, both sides are claiming the other side did it, and we don't. I don't know what we know or don't know about it. I would like to think that I would more like to think that it was an accidental strike by Hamas or whoever they said, jihad, accidental, than to think the Israelis did it. But because it's a hospital, for Christ's sakes. I mean, oh, it was like, it was like trying to tackle a moose. Well, you know what, Diana, I would say next time before you take him, let's get you and Mark on the phone and we'll talk about moose tactics. He's got some experience with moose handling, and we'll see if that helps any. Sad, so sad. A hospital gets hit. The only people that loses, yeah, that's the problem with this whole damn thing, Mike. I mean, in all honesty, the civilians on both sides. I don't care if they've got husbands or brothers or cousins that are fighting one side or the other. Neither one of them. I mean, the civilians don't need to be in this fight. Okay, Diana says, next time I'm getting sedated and Mike is coming. Oh, you're getting sedated. And then Mike has to throw in there, I've been slaving over a good meal for her and my son. She can appreciate that instead. Oh, Mike, you're getting just a tiny bit cocky there, buddy. I'd be careful with that. And I'd look over my shoulder the rest of the night because she could come. You'll think a moose has hit you before it's over with. Even if you did do all that, Mike, you do not realize you don't take credit for all that. You merely bring it to her on a platter and then thank her for eating it. Wow, you've got a lot to learn. Anyway, I don't know who hit that hospital. And honestly, I don't care who hit that hospital. I'd really like to. Yeah, where's dinner, Mike? I'd really just like for them to take care of the people there that are just even more displaced than they were. But I mean, I don't even know how many they've decided were killed in that hospital. Unfortunate collateral damage and friendly fire part. But yeah, they are. That's true, John. And I agree with you. That is part of battle, any conflict. But in this case, because they're fighting, this is pretty much an urban war here on both sides. That no matter what they do, probably both sides are going to have collateral damage. I mean, there's almost no way they can avoid it unless they abandon those parts of the cities. I mean, I don't know any other way you fight a urban street to street kind of battle that you don't without that unless the city's already been abandoned. I watched a movie the other night, and it was a movie, but I think it's pretty accurate, but it was, I'm sure some of you guys have at least have seen it, but it was A Bridge Too Far. And it was all about the market garden battle plan for Holland. I don't know what else to call it. I can't think of the right word here. But anyway, it was about trying to break through, push the Germans out of Holland and take over Holland and the bridges that crossed the Rhine to get into Germany to keep the war going, in their direction. And the amazing part of that was they attacked the city Arnhem, the town in Holland was major part of that battle, and it was just blown to shreds in the movie and in real life. And there were people, civilians that lived in that city or town when all that started, and a lot of them didn't make it out, and the city was just totally demolished. I've looked at pictures of World War II bombing damage and just and both in Britain and then Germany, and I don't know, or in France. And I mean, how do you start over from something like that? And that's where these people are going to be on again on both sides. I don't know these I can't remember what they're calling them now, but these settlements or these subdivisions or whatever they call it, that where the Israelis were killed, and then these buildings where all these Palestinians live, and I don't know. It's a bad deal all around. I've been married and with this lovely wife of mine for 20 years. I don't take credit for anything. Oh, well, good for you, Mike. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I've been married to my beautiful bride for almost 50 now, so take my word for it. You never want to stop learning. You want to continue to know your place and fix it in your mind, okay? Whatever the number it is, it's way too many. This will never end, unfortunately. Oh, you don't mean your marriage? You mean the conflict? When I first read that, I thought you meant it doesn't matter the years you've been married, and it will never end, unfortunately. But you were talking about the conflict over there. I don't know that it'll ever end either, Mike. I really don't. There has been some kind of conflict going on in that part of the world since before the Middle Ages were over. I mean, you had Arabs fighting the Jews over there and taking over Israel. You had different Arab groups fighting each other in different countries for decades. The Ottomans ran that country for a long, long time, right up through World War One. Then you had the Crusades going in there from out of the Christian armies coming out of Europe to go down there and beat off the Arabs to try to take it back over for Christianity and or the Jews and Hebrew people. And I mean, it's been like that in some form or another almost ever since that time. It's really a long story of death and turmoil and conflict. It really has been. So I don't know if it will ever end either. Okay, along with that, we had this war. I heard today, in fact, just this afternoon, that a U.S. Navy warship near Yemen. Now, this is not. This is on the other side of the continent, there, so to speak, from past Saudi Arabia down in the I guess the Sea of Arabia part, the Indian Ocean part. That they apparently shot down some projectiles. This article said, but missiles that were being shot at the ship. I don't know that it was this ship, but maybe it was. I don't know. I can't remember if they named the ship or not, but they did, intercept the missiles. Come on, buddy. Let go. Let go. You have a comment? Teddy says it's a bad lick no matter how you look at it. But anyway, I just heard that this afternoon that they may have fired on, our ship. So, Mike, it does seem like never end. I hope you're just laughing about what I said, Mike, because that was meant in jest. Okay, you said something else. You said the sad thing is that about this war in Israel, we'll never know the truth if it could have been prevented or not. Yeah, very true. $20 years. That's wonderful. It is wonderful. Uh-oh, she's already corrected him, Carol. Ow, 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 ow. Wish you guys could see my arm sometimes. Anyway, this a naval ship similar to this apparently was, I almost don't want to say attacked, but there was something shot at it, and they shot them down. Fortunately, I'm talking about the war conflict that we're in. Yeah, I know it won't. Yes, we do, Brenda. 52 years together. I mean, I know you guys are thinking, how in the hell have they done that and not killed her? It's a good question. Good topic for another session. How many near-death experiences I've had, that sort of thing. So anyway, this is the kind of crap that could extend this before it's over with. And then in this country, we got hundreds of people protesting for both sides of the conflict, the Israelis and the Palestinians, to somehow free Palestine or support Israel. Or this group here that met in the Capitol today was actually protesting more about the whole war. They weren't picking a side; they were both sides, and it was Rotunda. Oh, they were in the Cannon office building. Excuse me, not the Capitol. There were 25 rabbis amongst them. So these were Jewish people. They were marching in Washington, trying to get us to put pressure, I guess you could say, on Israel to back down and not kill. They for them it's too many too. And I can't read this. Let me see if I can read this. Something the dead and something like morgues for the dead and something like hell for the living, which is probably a pretty good statement. And these are Jewish. I mean, these folks are Jewish. They're as upset about the fact that, I'm sure they're outraged over what Hamas did, but they're also concerned about what their own country's doing to the citizens down there. And I don't know what you do about that. I don't know how they clean that out And I don't know how you prevent Hamas from doing something like this other than to try to destroy them as an organization. And I don't know if there's any way to do that without this. I don't know. And then I thought this is the last slide I've got, was this guy. And I don't know where this was at, but I like his sign, empathy for all. So, there is some neutral ground. I guess maybe it's easier to be neutral when you don't live there, but it's a tough thing. It's easy to say, well, hell, they've been doing it for centuries. What's the difference now? But I don't know. Maybe because we should be different now. I don't know. Or because we should, I don't know, try to do something better. Try to be better as people. I'm going to say this at risk of losing friends and supporters, or you guys, but I don't claim to be real. I don't claim to be. I don't claim to be any basic formed religion. No organized religious group, and I've been that way since I was about 12 or 14. But I've also always believed there's right and wrong, and I've always believed that people should know the difference between the two, and that it's always wrong to do wrong. I mean, I don't think you have to be a Jew or a Christian or a Muslim or Hindu or a Buddhist or, I don't know, any other religious group that you can think of to do the right thing and to be kind to your neighbors and to maybe love one another is a strong word for that, but that's what it amounts to, I guess. I've heard that phrase a lot in my life, and maybe just liking each other. Maybe we try to love each other, and that's too strong an emotion to push on people. Maybe we should just try to like each other. If we liked each other a whole lot more, most of this kind of crap wouldn't happen in the world. But there's always the greed, the desire apparently to want what somebody else has got. I mean, why's Putin in Ukraine? He wants what they've got. He wants either their land or some oil that's under the ground there, or I don't know if there's other minerals. Stop, Teddy, please. Okay. Okay. You can hold my hand, but don't pull on my arm, okay? Now that being said, and I realize that religion is very important in a lot of people's lives. I'm not against that. I think religion for a lot of people is very important and should be respected in that way. I don't really like it when it's pushed on me and they try to sell me on their ideas. I don't admit to that lightly because it's something I've studied most of my life and I've thought about most of my life, and in my own ways spoken to the powers that be, the whatever you want to call it, God, spirits, the great spirit, the universe. And I'm good with that. But I'm also good with trying to be a good human, trying to be a better human. I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and I'm going to try not to make them. But that's me, and that's how I feel. And just as I don't want people pushing religion on me, I don't want to push it on them. So or lack thereof. Because when I say I'm not religious, I'm not saying I'm not spiritual. I am very much spiritual. There are things that mean a great deal to me and connect me to the heavens and the earth, and they're just maybe not the same things that do other people. I've never felt like a synagogue, or a church, or a mosque is where I have to go to pray, or go to, to be with my ancestors. I just think, for one thing, I think nature provides us many, many places to be close to our maker, or close to the universe. Some things are just wrong, period. You're right, Carol. That's part of my point. And let's be honest, making war on anybody is wrong. Usually it's provoked by somebody else, which was wrong. I mean, it all goes back to not treating each other well, one way or another, at some point in history. I don't know. I don't know how you stop it. I mean, I want to. I wish we could. I wish I had a magic wand and I could just say no more wars. I mean, honestly, I would. I don't know anybody personally that's over there fighting that war right now, but I wish with all my heart that nobody else had to die. No child had to die. No wife had to die. No mother had to die. What's the matter? I'm okay. I'm okay. Come up here. Come here. He gets upset when if he thinks I'm upset. This is the truth. I know you guys probably think I'm nuts, but if he thinks I'm upset, he gets up on me, or he lays on my lap, or he starts picking at me. And that's what he was doing just now. He was standing up for me to pick him up. But I'm okay, buddy. I'm not getting upset, okay? If I get really upset, he's really clingy. Thank you. Okay. He's a comfort animal. There's no two ways around that. No, Mike, and that's exactly right. And to do that I think, is evil personified. I don't understand why they would do that, and I don't know what the driving force behind that is, although I've read enough history and read enough things to know what some of that mentality is. I mean, sometimes you hate somebody so bad that you don't just want to kill them, you want to kill their offspring and the wives, their husbands, their kids, because you want to destroy them and you want them out. As somebody said once, and I read this in a book, that it's only close, didn't it? There was a jet or something. It must have been a little low. And they said something about nits make lice. They were talking about killing the children, and babies, and they said nits make lice. So to get rid of the lice, you got to kill the nits, and that is not the way to look at people, at human beings. That's just not. There's nothing good or right about that. I don't know. I can get upset about it, but yeah, he does. He does, Carol. He really does. If I went to the couch right now, he'd sit down in my lap and wouldn't leave until he was sure I was okay. There has to be something mentally wrong with these people. Yeah, say that. I don't know if it's mentally in the purely in the medical sense, but I think maybe it's, what's the word, metaphysical. I mean, I think these thoughts and ideas get put in people's brains and minds from an early age. Well, think about it for a minute. If you're a 10-year-old boy and you just sat there and watched your mom and your brother and your little sister all get killed or beheaded, and you lived through that, you're going to grow up hating somebody. I mean, it'd be nice if you didn't, but I think you're going to. I mean, I think that's where part of that is bred, and that kind of thing gets into that mindset gets into the to refugee camps and bombed out cities in Iraq or Iran or not Iran, but uh, Syria. I mean, you can't get them all, and those kids are going to grow up hating Israelis or Hamas just as much because of what they've seen, unless there's someone there who can comfort and help them get through the situation. Oh, there's Tina. Let's see what Tina. I'm sure she has something to say. Mankind's done those acts to everyone through history. It's not just religious culture. That was Mike, and then Tina says, "I'm sorry, been watching Jeff. Forgot about Chasing Shadows. I'm kind of trying not be dwelling on it lately." Been watching Jeff. Who's Jeff? And I'm sorry to be ignorant. I'm not sure. And you're never too late, Tina. You know any time is fine. You can never take that out of people's soul when they live and learn it all day long. That's right. I can't imagine how difficult that is for somebody, a kid. I mean, I could see me growing up the same way if it had happened to me. What's Carol saying, Tim? That's true. It's like the Lost Boys of Sudan. They were trained to kill from a very young age. Yeah, I mean, and you know, in Africa, these kids they take at a very early age and put an AK-47 in their hand and Jeff, that Jeff, okay, what's Jeff up to tonight? PTSD is real, and it doesn't just mean soldiers. I mean, PTSD can be for a lot of things. And a kid going through that kind of trauma, damn sure PTSD. When you can take that out of people's, okay, that was what Mike said. Tina says, Carol, I dealt with some of those of the Sudanese at work. It's sad. I guess that's what you meant, Carol. I'm sorry. I wasn't when you said Sudan. I was thinking Saudi Arabia. I don't know why, or not Saudi, but anyway, I wasn't thinking Africa. That's why I said Africa. But anyway, you're right. You know, I've heard and read stories or seen stories about both sides of that. Some of those boys, of course, grew up to be horrible if they lived that long. They lost limbs, arms, legs, feet, and then some of them grew up the opposite, and maybe even almost too far to the opposite. They were just sick of it, and sick of death, and sick of killing. But that's all they had known since they were little kids. And they'd been trained and it'd been driven into them to, kill, 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 so to speak. As Arlo Guthrie said in Alice's Restaurant, Arlo got up got up and said, when the guy said, "Are you rehabilitated? Have you rehabilitated yourself?" And he stood up and said, I want to kill. I want blood, veins, and guts in my teeth. He said, "You're asking me if I've rehabilitated myself enough from being a litter bug to go kill people, women, children." He had a good point. Jeff is riding around and I go, "Oh, that's right. They were doing Fort Wilderness. Oh, that's fun to do. Were there many decorations yet?" Well, this is Halloween stuff, though, isn't it? We never went there on Halloween, did we, Brenda? I don't think we did. Christmas was always fun. We even decorated a tree at Christmas down there in campground one year. What, buddy? Huh? Come on, it's okay. Come here and get up in your chair. Come on, come back in your chair. Come on. Come Come on. Yeah, good boy. I'm all right. Okay. You're okay and I'm okay. So it's a horrible situation. Oh, is it, Mike? That's cool. It honestly, it is one of ours too. Yeah, it's cool. I'll have to watch that because I always like Lynn and or Lynn, Jenna and I can't think tonight. You know what I'm talking about. Resort TV One usually does that at Christmas, and didn't put full on his chair. No, I did not put full on his chair, Tina. I wouldn't do that. I'm afraid he'd get hurt. he's he, he's too big for that. I'm afraid he'd either tear down half the house or he'd hurt himself. Daddy wouldn't do that to you, would he? No, I wouldn't. now, Chloe, we've thought about because Chloe's bad about getting up on stuff and then knocking stuff off. I don't know how many of you saw it. I don't know if I sent it around the other day, and I hate to change the subject, but there was a great thing on YouTube or something not YouTube, Instagram or from a TikTok or something that was talking about the fact that if the world was flat, cats would have already knocked everything off of it. So therefore the world can't be flat. Hi, Dean. Welcome in. And everybody, Dean's will be on at 9:00, I believe, right, Dean, or 9:30? Garrett's here. Oh, hey, Garrett. Long time no see in here, buddy. And I'm reading Dean that said about him and everyone getting ready. Don't pull my shirt. He's going to shred my shirt sleeve. Yes, at 9. Okay. And thanks, Garrett. I'm not sure why, but thanks. Thumbs up back at you. Anyway, back to the subject before I do run out of time and breath and voice and everything else. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what this country should or shouldn't do. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt we'll support Israel in this, and we probably should from a purely strategic sense. And we don't really know who's supporting. Well, I mean, we probably do, but who's supporting the Hamas with all these missiles and who else is involved? ISIS may come and get involved in this, and Palestinian. What was the other one that they think launched those rockets that might have hit the hospital? Not Palestinian, but is a jihad group. I can't think of what they call themselves. Garrett meant he liked your life. Oh, okay. Well, okay, Tina. I'm sure that's correct. I thought maybe I'd said something there that's different, but then I was thinking I hadn't said anything. So, and there's another group. Well, the PLO is still around in some form. The Palestine Liberation Organization, which was what Yasser Arafat ran for a long time. They have a different name now, I believe. I heard that just the other day because I wondered what happened to them. And they turned into a more of a political wing, maybe, than they were before. And I don't know. The way, I mean, you can't use terror to defeat someone. Terror has never really worked at that level because terror just enrages people and makes them want to fight even harder. And when anybody uses terror, whether it be us against the natives or us against somebody else, or the Iran or Hamas against the Israelis, it's not gonna accomplish anything but make the war worse and kill more people. And it's not going to subdue Israel. It's not going to convince Israel to go to the table and talk peace with Hamas, or make Palestine a new country. Or it's not going to work that way. It never has worked that way. Yeah, Tina, but you know who I'm talking about. I'm sure, but I can't remember what they have a new name, but I can't remember what it is. It's a different name, and they were more trying to be more of a political group back during the sometime after Arafat and was it Begin signed their peace agreements, and then Begin got assassinated because his fellow countrymen didn't like his idea of peace. And then how do you win when your own countrymen kill you because they don't like what you're doing either? It's always been a messed up country. And growing up, I remember the 6 Days War, but I also remember during that time that the IRA and I don't know if you call them the Ulster side or the British side, the Protestant side versus the Catholic side. That was just terrifying to me when I was younger, because I kept thinking about the same things. All those people that die, school buses get blown up by both sides. One side blames the other. Nobody ever wins that kind of a conflict, and I reckon they finally settled down. But I still hear rumors every once in a while, or read them, that there's stuff going on, and I'm just waiting for that to explode all over again, because there's people on the British side that don't like how things are going in Northern Ireland, and there's people there's Catholics there that don't like how things are going. I think, and I think that England should get out of there and let them be part of the Republic of Ireland. I don't know that that could ever be any worse than it's been, but maybe I'm wrong about that. Well, I've got a good chunk of me's Irish, so maybe I just like for them all to be free in that regard. Although I could have had family from there too, for all I know, that part of Ireland. Scotch Irish, that I never truly understood how that name worked, was more related to the mixture of Scotch and Irish in Northern Ireland, where they moved over there to farm the land, and the British moved them over there in the 15 or 1600s to do their thing, for Britain. Not necessarily to fight, but to farm and run plantations and that sort of thing. Yeah, I've got one or both of those on both sides, and I think Brenda does too, or at least Scottish on hers. I've got a fair bit of Scots in my blood, and I have my Irish great grandfather. He came over in the late 1800s, so it's not that far removed from me in that regard. He came over right at the end of the potato famine, so I'm sure he was half starved, and the rest of his family probably was too. I've always wondered how that worked for him, because he came over here as a Roman Catholic, and I don't even know if there are any Roman Catholics up in that part of the world anymore. It's just 30 miles from here where they lived. Anyway, you're peeling potatoes and carrots, so I'm listening. Oh, are you now? She's making stew. Well, I wondered why you got quiet. Sometimes when she goes quiet, she's asleep. So anyway, thoughts. I would say to think about those people, and if you pray for them. If you, I don't know, if you chant to the winds, do that. But they need all the help they can get, I think. They, I wonder what would happen if everybody just stopped sending them weapons. What if we did that? What if the embargo, or what if the agreement finally ended up being nobody sends them any more weapons? Would it end eventually, or would they run out of bullets? Or I guess that wouldn't work. Yeah, it's sad, Diana. It's really sad. Anytime you got a conflict like that, it's sad. And to me, and I'm not knocking anybody's religion, but to me, to fight a conflict like that that's based supposedly on religious beliefs, I'm not sure that's really the case. I think that's the excuse, but a lot of times. But to do that, how do you fight a war? How are you a religious group of people claim you are, but yet you're killing your neighbors? I've never figured out how any group justifies that. I mean, the Christians went over there in the 14 or 1500s, and the Crusades, and killed the Moors and the Arabs, Muslims, and they did all that in the name of God, as Europe knew it. And then then the other side turned around and ran them out and did the same thing, and then it was back and forth. I mean, I don't know. Let's see what Mike has said here, because he spent time doing this, so I want to make sure I cover it. Nobody, I think, on this continent wants war and death and poverty in the world. Somebody should stop sending the weapons, but can't do much when other countries are supporting. Yeah, that's true. As far as I'm concerned, religion's gone a long time ago. I don't care. Mankind did not get made on this earth to kill each other like this. I think that's true. They claim it's about religion, but it's exactly right, Tina. That's what I was trying to say. They do it in the name of their religions, but they're really not. I mean, it's not got a damn thing to do with that. It's all about power and country and money, in essence. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, honestly, I know there's things in the Quran, and people can say, "Oh, well, there is this in the Quran." Whether honestly, if you read the Bible, I had a good friend of mine has told me just recently that he's not religious, but he has read parts of the Bible, and he really likes the parts in the Bible that are about war and conflict, because they're talking about horses and cavalry and all kinds of cool things like that, and he really likes that part. And if you read the Quran, I'm sure you can find just as many things about that as you can about love and taking care of each other. And I don't inherently think it's any more of a combative religion than Christianity is. But that's not what we hear. And therefore, they're supposed to just not like each other. And I think it goes both ways. You can blame it on either one you want to, but I think it's equal. I think they share equally in that blame, or that guilt. I mean, Europeans came to this country, and they, at least in some places and in some parts, they took the land, and they enslaved the natives, and more or less forced them into religious beliefs that were not their own. The Inquisition was all about turning Jews into Catholics and taking everything they had. That was also about greed. Even if you don't believe in God or Jesus as a savior, The Bible is still considered the most accurate historical work. I think it's an excellent history book, and should have told us a lot of things about getting along with each other, especially in that part of the world. But who pays attention? I mean, nobody. The right people are. I wish the people in this room can maybe go over there and fix it. I mean, I think there's a lot of people out here in this country and then probably a lot of other countries that do one of two things. Either they don't give a damn and they ignore it, or they really wish they could go over there and fix it because they don't understand it either. But, nobody's inviting us over to do it. Yes, they have, Tina, and I agree with that. They do, and especially back in biblical times or whatever history time and period in history you want to call it, they have. I mean, that was a standard practice. If you conquered a people, you took those people and enslaved them or killed them, or very seldom did they just leave them alone. And it doesn't matter who you were. I mean, the Romans were real good at that. And the Africans enslaved each other, and most of the time it had to do with combat and war, and who won that day and who didn't. And it is still going on today. Doesn't mean we wouldn't. It doesn't mean So oh yeah, sure they were. I'm not cutting leaving out people because I think they weren't. I agree. And so were the Europeans. I mean, let's be honest. They did it too with other countries. I've read several times about different countries that conquered. Oh, for example, the Eastern Europeans. Hell, they got run over and stomped and many times and turned into slaves and workers that weren't paid. You can call it what you want, but they were always expected to bow down to the new masters. Some of those things are changing. Some of those things are not. In fact, Arabs used to gild their slaves so they couldn't. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, the Romans did too, and the Egyptians I think did that. Yeah, and the Germans did that during World War II. Also, they not only gelded the males, they you know gelded the females, so to speak. The Jewish people. I don't know, and I don't know why they bothered since they were going to try to kill them all anyway. But they also did that. They also did that to some of the Eastern Europeans because they thought the Eastern Europeans, by and large, the Slavic people were just almost as bad and lowly as the Jewish race. I guess when you get right down to it, human beings as a rule are just a bunch of rotten bastards. Pardon my language. There's always somebody that wants to be in charge, and there's always somebody that figures out if you can't do it, just do it by God by force. I wonder if you could go back in time and study all the cultures that we've had on this earth, if there was ever a culture that didn't do that, Tina, that didn't just try to conquer, their neighbors, that didn't try to prevent them from reproducing, that didn't try to, yeah, gypsies were uh, definitely among those who were discriminated against. We don't think about gypsies and people like that being looked upon as, well, like the Jews. But they were, particularly by the Germans during that time period. Reduce the world to a single race world. They had plans to have Asians help them, then they'd overtake them too. Yeah, that's the funny thing about that war and the Germans and the Nazi way of thinking. They wanted friends up until they didn't want them, and then they wanted to take them over too. That was kind of their plan. I mean, in Russia, they had the same thoughts about Russia because they thought they were also, poorly Slavic people. Looks like Teddy's getting himself into some trouble. What are you doing? Huh? Are you getting in trouble over here? Over there? You better not be. Go over and get your bite to eat. Hang on a second. Can I pick you up? Come here. Can I hold you? Come here. Can I hold you? No? Okay. Then don't yell at me. I don't know. South Central American native cultures enslaved and used them as sacrifices. Yes, they did. What about the Inuit and the Eskimo people? Of course, they weren't. I mean, they're another branch of our own Native Americans, or North Americans. I don't know. I don't know enough about their actual history. Come here. Are you getting in trouble, young man? Huh? You got an opinion about this? Look at that. You've had me bleeding tonight. You got an opinion about war and people enslaving other people? Yeah, he doesn't like it. He don't like it. He don't even think we should. He thinks he should be in charge of us. So yeah, Tina said either be quiet and get up in your chair and say hi to her, or let me pick you up. If he don't want me, I ask him, and if he don't want me to pick him up, he lays on his belly. He just drops down on the floor. And if he doesn't mind if I pick him up, he stands up. And don't tell me they're not smart. Cats, dogs, or whatever, they're smart. Oh, he is in charge of us all. Yes, he is. I think most people think cats feel that way. Yeah, I don't know about them either, Tina. I don't know if the Inuits, the people that live in that kind of a climate or country or part of the continents, if they ever did those things or not. I don't know if they had time to. I think maybe they were too busy just surviving. If you lived up there, you'd probably be pretty busy just trying to live too. Is my computer flickering on you guys? Twice now I've looked over and it looked like it was frozen, then it flipped back on. Maybe not. You don't believe the Inuit did? I can't think of any time or case when they might have, at least not once they were established on this continent. Brenda said he's in charge of us, yes. But there's not too many people I can think of. And when I say peoples, I mean, people that we would consider, well, you got the Scandinavian people, the Vikings, they sure as hell did. And then you move down into Europe and all those people. I mean, they enslaved each other. You might as well consider the serfs and those who worked for the hierarchy of the kings / royalty / upper class. I don't know what they, dukes and knights or maybe not knights, but dukes and earls. And, they always you might as well say they enslaved the people that lived around them because they were pretty much in charge of making sure they stayed fed. Yeah, I don't either, Tina. That's probably one I need to read up more on. Um, well, I should read up on all of them more. I mean, I don't know them all. I sure as heck don't understand them. I need to study more. Word slave is derived from Slavic. Yeah, well, that makes sense, Tina. When you think about it, I guess that is true. And basically, what it all amounts to is man's not been very kind to man since time began. Since we stood upright and figured out how to use a war club or a club, we've been beating each other over the head with it. And you'd think by now we could be evolved far enough to not do that to one another. Now our clubs come from way high above or from great long distances away and strike by all thoughts. Strike, have pinpoint accuracy to strike and kill. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Tina. I was just giving you a hard time. Anyway, guys, I think it's time to shut down for the night. I'm getting kind of dry of mouth. My wife's up there beating a hole in the wall. I don't know what she's doing, unless she's still chopping vegetables, root vegetables. I don't know what I'm going to talk about Saturday yet. I do have some things, though. I am going to do a little show and tell. Because I don't think I've had this bag out, have I? Anybody remember seeing this? I have some really cool fossils in here, such as this. What is this, you ask? Or this, which is full of fossils. What, you want to look in there? You have a favorite one you want to pick out? Oh, how about this one? You want to pick this one out? This one's a really cool one. I'm going to show you a couple of them. That's all I'm going to show. But I'm not going to tell you what they are yet. How's Mark feeling? He's feeling, I think, better. I haven't talked to him, but I did talk to his wife today for a minute and his daughter, and she said she was finally feeling better. And Shauna, his wife, was feeling pretty good. She thought they were healing up. Yeah, I don't think I've had that bag out, Tina. I kept meaning to get up and show what was in it because, I mean, there's not a lot in it, but there are a few fossils I found while I was out there. They're mostly turtle parts, but there's a few other things in there. It was an interesting trip. It could have been even more interesting if I was able to get around better, but Mark tried to show me a really good time, and I felt really bad because I couldn't get out and enjoy it the way we used to. And yeah, you guys got to remember that when I was little younger and Mark was younger, of course, he's always been younger than me, but he and I used to traipse the hills and just get out and leave a truck and walk for miles and look for stuff or hunt. We've tracked deer on foot for miles and miles and miles and miles in a day bow hunting, and that's just stuff we did, and I can't do that with him anymore, and it really sucks. I keep meaning to send you the rocks I collected. Darn it, I keep forgetting where I put my memory. I'm going to assume you were kidding about your memory here, but maybe you mean pictures of memory on a memory stick or something. That sounded funny, Tina. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing because I thought that was funny. Because I can't remember where I put anything. So if I could find my memory, maybe I could find the stuff I'm looking for. Anyway, I'm gonna go, and you guys are hope to see you Saturday. I'll come up with something, or we'll chase squirrels all day. I don't know. We're good at that. I mean, I've never known a group of people that could sit and listen to me or me and Mark, talk about squirrel hunting or chasing any better than this bunch. So believe me, I love y'all for it. So anyway, I'm gonna cut off, guys, and see some of you Saturday or see some of you next week. And I hope everybody has a good rest of this week. I hope everybody's well. There's all kinds of things starting to go around already. I don't know. I just hope everybody's safe and careful and don't have too much trouble. But so thank you for being here. I do love y'all. You're all special to me, and our little group here is really important to me, and so I really thank you for being here. You guys don't know how much you brighten up my day just to know I've got even a handful of people that would actually come out and listen to me talk all night and talk to me. You guys are good about bringing the conversation. Anyway, good night, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, which is just one more day. And I'll see some of you Saturday. And if your favorite team's playing football this weekend, more power to them. And unless it happens to be Alabama, then all bets are off. Because Tennessee needs to beat Alabama big time. All right, guys. Let me see. I just saw something pop up. Let me make sure I'm not missing something. We wait for Thursdays and Saturdays. We enjoy everyone's company and chat. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, and I hope everybody else does too. And I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. I meant it to be funny, so good that you laughed. Okay, I thought it was funny. I mean it's because I have the same problem. So, Brenda even came back to say good night during her root vegetable chopping. All right, guys. See ya.